As I told you, what is text as an object? Already we have understood what is text, and it has some points. Now we are going to talk about text as an object. Let me read. Focusing on text as an object, a grammarian will be asking questions such as, why does the text mean what it does to me or to anyone else? Why is it valued as it is? Look, text as an object means there is a text, and the text in front of your eyes works as an object. Now, as an object, the first question that should come to your mind is that, why does the text mean what it does? Every text, every oral or written piece has some meaning behind it. But what does this text mean? What it does? Why does the text mean what it does? Means that it means something, but what? Why does it mean what it wants to mean? This we will look at. To me or to anyone else, there is a text, there is a piece of writing, there is a composition. To me, it means differently. To others, it means differently. So we will look at the text as an object, that this text as an object, this text, does it mean to me in the same way does it mean to others? Number 1 point. Number 2 point, why is it valued as it is? Means, why is it understood in the same manner as it is understood by others? So we have to analyze two aspects when we talk about text as an object. Go to the next 2.3, text as an instrument. Let me read. Focusing on text as instrument, the grammarian will be asking what the text reveals about the system of the language in which it is spoken or written. These two perspectives are clearly complementary. Look here, as an instrument, when we talk about text as instrument, means that the grammarian will be asking what the text reveals about the system. What the text gives more information about the system of the language, how the language has been formed, how the language has been exploited in writing the text and writing this composition. We have beautiful poetry, we have beautiful composition, how this beautiful poetry has been written, what is the beauty of the language, so on and so forth. So, what the text reveals about the system of the language in which it is spoken, or written. So, text as instrument means that text becomes a tool for us, helping tool for us to understand the language, to understand the system, to appreciate the beauty of the language, how it has been expressed, how it has been written. And these two things, that is to say, the system of the language and the text as an object and the text as instrument, both are very, very complementary, closely related. They move on hand in hand at the same time. You cannot separate. Go to the next page. Text as artifact or specimen. Let us read. The text has a different status in each case, means a different position in each case. Either viewed as artifact or also viewed as a specimen, used as an example of its type for a study or investigation. Look here you have two meanings, artifact and specimen. Here the meaning is given. Artifact refers to an object made by a human being, typically one of cultural or historical interest. Texts do not just contain words, texts themselves are cultural artifacts which convey many meanings in their own right. Look here. Here, what text as an artifact or a specimen? First of all, try to understand what is artifact. Artifact, as it is here given, artifact is an object made by a human being, and it has a very cultural or historical interest. For example, you can say that an object of keeping your memory alive of the past. This is called artifact. Sometimes you have an object in your house which your grandfathers used and you want to keep it safe. So that object which you appreciate as a part of the memory of the past, this object could be considered as artifact. Now here we are talking about a specimen. Here means example of its kind. A specimen means that a very good example of its own type, its own kind. We have a lot of things, but out of a lot of things, we want to study this particular type, this particular instance, this particular section, and that section, that type may become the specimen, may become the example of its own. So text as artifact or a specimen, it means that text is just not only a written piece, not only a spoken form. Text may be valued as artifact or a specimen. Text may be considered as an important piece of memory of the past, of the contemporary time, depending upon how we look at the meaning. So text is just not a spoken words and written words. Text has its own cultural or historical relation. Any word, anything that is spoken by a leader today, by a person today, may become of its own cultural and historical importance tomorrow. So text may be considered as an artifact or a specimen. It becomes very valuable, it's become very important, it becomes very precious, and we have to respect it. We move on to the next. Text as register. Let me read. Recognizing the texts for analysis of discourse or text are numerous and varied: educational, social, literary, political, legal, clinical, and so on. And in all these, the text may mean example or a specimen of a particular functional variety known as register. Look here. To analyze any text, any written or spoken material, what is more important is to recognize the contexts, is to recognize the background in which that particular piece, that particular writing has been composed for analysis of discourse or text. So before we analyze any text, here discourse or text both are more or less having the same meaning. So when you are going to analyze the text, you are going to analyze the discourse, you must try to understand the context. Number one point. Number 2 point here is that the text, when you are going to analyze, may work at various levels, what we call register. Sometimes you may have educational books, educational writings. Sometimes you may have social books, social writings, literary books, literary writings, political books, political writings, legal, clinical, and so on. So we have different types of areas of knowledge, and the different types of areas of knowledge will have different types of ideas, different types of thoughts, and different way of expressing the language also. So before we try to analyze any text, we should also try to understand what kind of knowledge this particular text belongs to? What is the variety? To which field it belongs to? Does it belong to education, or society, or literature, or politics, or legal matter, or scientific, and so on? This must be decided in the beginning before we start analyzing the text. If you don't know what kind of text it is, then how can you reach the right level of meaning? This is the point here. In all these, the text may mean example or a specimen of a particular functional variety known as register. So this we call register, a particular way of writing in a particular field of knowledge. This gives you the sense of register, the variety of the type of language being used in that particular field. This is known as a register. So text can also work as register. And this is very important. If you don't understand what kind of text it is, what kind of variety of writing it is, then you cannot come to the level of meaning.